Hello, Professor. Today I'm going to explore the powerful poem Half-Caste by John Eggert. This poem challenges the derogatory term half-caste and invites us to rethink our assumptions about identity, culture, and mixed heritage through a series of thought-provoking analyses and literary devices. Edgar shows us the richness and beauty of diversity and encourages us to celebrate our individuality. At its core, Half-Caste is a poem about identity and the absurdity of labeling people based on their mixed heritage. Eggert argues that these labels are limiting and fail to capture the complexity of individual experiences. By using analogies from art and nature, he shows us that mixed identities are not something to be ashamed of, but rather something to be celebrated. One of the striking features of this poem is its use of colloquial language and Caribbean dialect. This creates a sense of familiarity and immediacy, drawing the region into the conversation. Eggert also employs a range of literary devices, including metaphors. He compares a half-caste painting to the mixing of colors, and a half-caste symphony to the combination of piano keys. These metaphors illustrate the beauty of diversity and challenge us to rethink our assumptions about identity. Also, repetition. The refrain, "Explain yourself," emphasizes the demand for understanding and reflection on the part of the listener. Imagery is used to describe natural phenomena such as the weather and shadows, to reinforce the idea that hybrid identities are as natural as and beautiful as these elements. And personification, for example, the clouds are described as spiteful, giving life to the weather and emphasizing emotional weight of being labeled. The poem's sound and rhythm are also noteworthy. The varied syllabic structure and use of enjambment create a conversational tone. Many of the lines of the poem have between 8 to 12 syllables, with some shorter lines having 5 to 7 syllables, and some longer lines having 13 to 15 syllables. While the natural stresses and pauses invite the reader to reflect on the speaker's words, the poem's rhythm is dynamic, oscillating between more rhythmic, punctual lines and longer, flowing lines. The poem's structure is also carefully crafted. The 7 stanzas, each with a mix of short and long lines, add to the conversational quality of the poem. The strategic use of line breaks creates pauses that allows the readers to absorb the weight of the speaker's words. While the poem doesn't follow a strict rhyme scheme, there are instances of internal rhyme and assonance that contribute to its musicality. To understand the poem's context, it's helpful to know a bit about John Eggert's background. As a British Guyanese poet, he draws on his Caribbean heritage and experiences in his work. Half-Caste was first published in the 1990s, a time when discussions around race, identity, and multiculturalism were increasingly prominent in literature and society. Finally, Eggert wrote this poem to challenge societal labels and encourage a deeper understanding of mixed identities. Hey everyone, let's dive now into The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. So, the central idea of this poem is that our choices have consequences, and the speaker is reflecting on a pivotal moment of decision making. It's all about how the choices we've made shape our lives and define who we are today. The poem explores this idea through the metaphor of a traveler as a fork in the road, symbolizing life choices. The speaker is contemplating which path to take, and it's like we all been there, right? We've all had to make tough choices and wonder what would have happened if we had chosen differently. This poem is really about the human experience of decision making, uncertainty, and the longing to understand the impact of those decisions. Now, let's talk about the language. Frost uses simple yet evocative words like diverge, yellow woods, and grassy to create this vivid image in our minds. These words don't just describe nature, they also symbolize the choices we face in life. And the way Frost uses metaphors, imagery, personification, and symbolism is just amazing. The roads symbolize different life paths and choices. The vivid descriptions of the woods paths create a sensory experience, and the roads are even personified as having claims and desires. The poem's structure is also really interesting. It's divided into 4 stanzas with 5 lines each. Moreover, each line has 8 syllables, which creates a consistent rhythm and flow. The rhyme breaks often occurs after significant thought or imagery, allowing us to pause and reflect. And the rhyme scheme follows A-B pattern in each stanza, which adds to the musical quality of the poem. The sound and rhythm of the poem are also worth noting. The meter is predominant iambic tetrameter, which gives the poem a contemplative and reflective quality, and the use of commas, periods throughout the poem creates like natural pauses, enhancing the reflecting tone of the poem. Now a bit about the context. The poem was written by Robert Frost, an American poet known for his depictions of rural lives and his command of colloquial speech. It was published in 1916 in Frost's collection Mountain Intervals. Frost wrote this poem to express the human experience of decision making and the inherent uncertainty that accompany personal choices. Thank you.